Ready, Set, Soar was started by Montgomery County's Family and Children First Council, and we are the early childhood collaborative for our community. Our vision is to see that every child begins kindergarten ready, and so we are working with all of you to achieve that. And today's summit is an example of the kind of collaborative work that we are doing. I want to specifically thank the commissioners who have really been committed to Ready, Set, Soar from the beginning and have funded our initiative, and also the Frank M. Tate Foundation. Jenny Rohr is here, the executive director of the Frank M. Tate Foundation, and we are grateful for those funders. And then, of course, today for the summit, we extend a thank you to PNC for sponsoring our summit and our lunch together.
So I've always had tremendous respect for the teachers who work with young children and can allow them to express themselves and experience what it means to be a learner. And part of what we're about here today is to try to create environments throughout this region where young people can grow and experience who they are and learn in a way that's going to allow our community to be one that creates a lot of not just successful young people, but where I'm focused at now with particular intentionality is how do we get more of our young people, college and career ready.
We're very pleased to be here today, and I want to congratulate you on your efforts, your commitment, and your collaboration. You know, it's one of the very unique things about Dayton in terms of being able to work together. This doesn't happen everywhere in terms of communities and organizations, so thank you so much for that effort. One of the reasons that beyond kind of sponsorship of your seminar today and your activities today that we're very pleased to be here is to mention to you that we want to roll out a program. We've worked very hard with Robin and with Tom and with others to create a program called Passport to Kindergarten that I think many of you obviously have heard about. You hear Passport to Kindergarten, you hear Ready, Set, Soar, you see up on my board here, Grow Up Great. It's not so much about the name, it's about the activities. And today I want to announce that PNC is committing $336,000 for this effort to really help propel this initiative as we go forward. In terms of making resources, available for the initiative to develop a pilot school with the school at the Jackson Center in terms of rolling out some of these initiatives, to work in collaboration with some of our fine organizations in town like the Dayton Art Institute, Dayton Philharmonic, the Dayton Metro Library, the Boone Shop to make some of these areas accessible to kids who would otherwise not have access. I don't need to explain to you clearly the importance of the early childhood education. Frankly, we all know that this is the absolute best investment we can make for the success of these young people, but even more broadly for the success of our community. So thank you for what you do on that part.
And we discovered quickly that there really isn't one common understanding of what kindergarten readiness is. And so that led us to decide to do this summit to say, let's bring together the people who work with children every day, either on the birth to age 5 side of preparing children for kindergarten or on the receiving side in the K-12 world, and say, what does it mean to be ready and how do we work together better to help children prepare? One is just to build relationships. Many of us in the room already know each other, and many of us don't yet know each other. And so we want to work on building those relationships with people who serve children birth to age 5 and the people on the elementary side. And we also want to understand what are we currently doing in our community for kindergarten readiness and in preschool. And then thirdly, start to develop what are some common definitions, what are some goals that we can work on together, and what are some next steps that we can identify that we can build on from today. Because of course, a half-a-day summit together will not solve all the world's problems, but we hope it's a beginning starting point for us. Next, I want to just mention who is here today. As you can see, we have a great turnout, but what's more important to me than just the numbers is making sure we have the right people here. And what I am very excited about is we have a great diverse group here. We have people from the early care world, from preschools, from child care centers, both on the for-profit, not-for-profit, from Head Start. We have people from public schools, from charter schools, from Catholic schools, from private schools. We have someone registered from all of the 16 districts in Montgomery County. And we have people from healthcare. We have people from support organizations like the library, from museums. We have people from the juvenile court system. We have people from higher ed, from all of our key universities, from UD, from Wright State, from Central State, from Sinclair. And I am sure I'm leaving off people. We have people from foundations, from United Way. So you can see what is so amazing about this is we have all the people that it takes to prepare children for kindergarten in this room. And so that gives me great hope and encouragement that we have what it takes to make this happen as we go forward. So thank you for taking the time commitment to be here today.
How are we possibly going to be able to impact school readiness when we have so many that we're not able to really impact the quality of their experience? And I think that that is why when we look around the room, we look at who is included here, because it is people from all aspects of early care and education, and also community organizations like the Public Library and the Boonschaft and the Dayton Art Institution, Dayton Art Institute, and all of the other community organizations that provide programs for families that can provide children with rich experiences. NAEYC has a strong commitment to promoting universal school readiness, and they start out by requiring one of the purposes that we're here today, and that is to establish reasonable and appropriate expectations for what children should be able to do when they enter school, and to have a common expectation so that we don't have situations where preschool teachers are preparing kids for what they hope the school needs. And in many instances, because schools are very different in what it is that they expect in terms of kindergarten readiness, it's kind of like a moving target, trying to figure out what it is that they're preparing for.
It is my privilege this morning to introduce to you Dr. Jane Wiekle, from Associate Superintendent from the Ohio Department of Education. And there's some things in your folder about her. I just want to say the following. Number one, she has been a knowledgeable, constant, and passionate voice for early care in the state of Ohio and on the national scene. She's recognized as not only knowledgeable, but consistent in her leadership in this area. We used to introduce her as Associate Superintendent, but with that brief introduction, let me have the mother, the proud mother of Libby and Clara, come on up.
For those of you in the room, it was that mothering side that got me out of Columbus not quite on time this morning. So, yeah, I'm learning. I've jumped into motherhood. I adopted 2 girls 4 years ago, so they're 11 and 14. So I now have a teenager. So those of you out there with any advice, I am open, because I am learning fast and on my feet. But thank you, Frank, for that generous introduction. I appreciate it. And I'm honored to be invited to speak to all of you this morning, and I'm inspired by the very fact to look out there to see the 250 faces in this audience that bring you here to work collaboratively on this issue of school readiness. I want you to know that you are one of a handful of communities that have made this commitment. And so to convene educators and community leaders and higher ed and folks in the field of early care and education as providers and teachers and school administrators to discuss this important topic. You're really one of the few pioneers in doing that, and I really commend you for that commitment and for being here this morning. And also to congratulate you, because you're in the forward thinking. I mean, you really aren't. And I know from some folks that I saw in the room with Jenny Rohr this morning, it was like 5 years ago we had an initial conversation. But it is that kind of persistence and commitment and staying the course that I think allowed and brings this to happen today. So congratulations to all of you.